Good morning. Thank you for joining me. I'm James Detroit, and this is a wonderful day to be an American. If you're a subscriber, please share this with somebody else. I thank you for taking the time to hang out with me for a couple of thoughts. Do we recognize COVID-19? Do we recognize that our overall death rates in the United States are trending to be somewhere around 30 to 35,000 less this year than last year? What does that mean? Well, the heart disease has been the number one killer of Americans for years, and that is drastically on the decrease. And why do I say drastically? Well, think about this for a second. Between 1945 in 1965, it's called the baby boomers. More people were born every year, year over year. It's the largest segment. Until recently, it was the largest segment of our population. It is logical to understand that when you fast forward around 70 years, that you are going to have more people dying year over year because more people were alive. And when everybody was born from 1945 to 1965, the average life expectancy was somewhere between 65 and 75. And now it has actually increased on the average, again, law of large numbers, to closer to 78, 79 years. So it becomes exponentially more dramatic that we would have less people dying year over year. And how is it that if we're in a pandemic that is so critically damaging to our existence, that we would have less people dying? Also, prior to the pandemic, especially in the state of Michigan, you see a number of billboards that the third leading cause of death in the United States was medical malpractice. Now, regarding COVID, if you go back to the initial pandemic, or plandemic as we've referred to it, that you had doctors coming on, and then they were censored. These videos disappeared, but you had doctors coming on saying, we are killing these people. We're putting them on a ventilator. We're flooding their lungs. This is a respiratory and inflammation pathogen, and we're killing them by flooding their lungs with the oxygen. So I would even, in reflection now, we can't go back, but in reflection, I would even say that medical malpractice may have taken a far greater leap in the causation of deaths in this country, especially when you consider that hydroxychloroquine is still a wonderful treatment for a virus. It's an antiviral drug. Billions with such a minor side effect in anybody. When I say minor, it is 0.000000001% of somebody having a side effect. Those same doctors that have come on and made those declarations have been censored as well. Also, one last note on COVID-19. The diagnosis for flus have gone down 98%. Now, if you say, oh, come on, James, that's not possible. Well, I just read another article that is explaining the inexplainable. That now all of a sudden, within a decade, we've had fewer flu deaths. These numbers, we know, are still arguable because the numbers themselves, and we know this in Michigan, have not been accurately reported. The PCR tests, depending on how many cycles you run these tests, you come up with no positivity rates if you run them enough cycles. The other thing is, just because, quote unquote, the virus can live on some surfaces up to 72 hours, that doesn't mean that amount of the virus can get you sick. And a positive test is not a case. It's not a clinical case. Enough on that. How about this lawsuit filed by Texas and 7, 9, 12 other states, it's going to increase. That's what you call a Hail Mary. Now, I'm not saying I'm giving up. I'm praying for Trump every single day. I'm praying for the patriots of this country that are attempting to do the next correct thing according to our Constitution. But I also don't believe that I do not believe it's highly likely that the Supreme Court is going to rule in the favor of Texas on the merits. And I didn't read all 100 pages of the suit, but I read some of the highlights. It's a no-brainer. It's not just because of my worldview. It's because you have gone around the legislature of these states, and you've arbitrarily decided, again, that's against the law. It's against the Constitution. But I do not believe it'll also be the first time that the Supreme Court is going to have an opportunity to hear this. So it's just my humble opinion, and I'm not a constitutional scholar from the legal standpoint. If they decide not to rule in favor of Texas and these other states, then they're going to have this on their desk again. When I said it earlier this year that our constitutional republic is still standing, we have processes in place. We just need enough patriots to stand up and say, I want to keep this country. And let me remind you that the citizens of the world in China, in Russia, in every country across this globe, they are hoping and praying that our constitutional republic will remain as intended by our creators. Not this crony capitalism, this continuation of crony capitalism evolving into a socialist and eventually a communist regime. The citizens, like me, like you, in every country on the globe, is really hoping that we get our crap together. And it does start with prayer. It does start with doing the next right thing according to the Constitution. Let's encourage our state legislators to do the next right thing. Reach out to them today. Write President Trump a letter. Write and phone, email, anything to contact our state reps and senators. Until tomorrow, hey, I'm going to go get a workout in. This is a great day. I'm excited. I feel like I'm going to kill it today in the gym. Yeah. All right. I'm James Detroit. And for now, I'm out.